Hello everyone, hopefully everybody is healthy and happy today. My name is Dewa Putri Wijaya, but you can call me Ratih, and I'm a student of English Education Department Uniksa. I'm super excited to be here because we are going to talk about someone who is very famous for her services, and she is one of my idol figures. Her name is Raden Adjeng Kartini. Since I was a kid, I really like to read something about Raden Adjeng Kartini because she is a figure who is very inspiring me, not only me, but also every Indonesian women. So we will start from the first material. The first material is we are going to talk about who is Raden Adjeng Kartini. So Raden Adjeng Kartini came from the Javanese priai or aristocratic class. She is the daughter of Raden Mas Adipati Arya Sosroningrat. Apati was appointed regent Jepara immediately after Kartini was born. Raden Adjeng Kartini was born on April 21st, 1879 in Mayung, Jepara, Central Java. Kartini is the daughter of the first wife, but not the main wife. Her mother, Mas Ayu Ngasirah, the daughter of Nyai Haji Siti Aminah and Kiai Haji Madirono, a religion teacher in Telukawur, Jepara. Kartini is the fifth child of 11 biological and step siblings, and of all the siblings, Kartini is the older daughter. Because Kartini could speak Dutch, at home she began to study on her own and write letters to correspondence friends who came from the Netherlands, and one of them is Rosa Abendanon, who supports her a lot. From European books, newspapers, and magazines, Kartini was interested in the progress of European women's thinking. Her desire arose to promote indigenous women because she saw that indigenous women were at a low status, and by her parents, Kartini was matched with the regent of Rembang, Kanjeng Raden Mas Adipati Aryo Singgih Joyo Adiningrat, who already had 3 wives. Kartini married on November 12, 1903. Her husband understood her and Kartini's wishes to be given freedom and was supported to establish a women's school to the east of the gate of the Rembang district office complex, or in a building that is now used as a scout building. And then the next material is education pursued by Raden Adjeng Kartini. So little Kartini is different from the girls in her village. She got the opportunity to go to good schools. Kartini studied at Europese Lager School or ELS. This is where she learned Dutch and also went to school there until she was 12 years old, because at the time girls had to stay at home to dipping it. So dipping it means when the bride and groom are not allowed to leave house and meet the groom to be based on a predetermined time, usually around 1 week. It is a tradition of Javanese women at the time. Even though Kartini was at home, she was active in carrying out correspondence with her friends who were in the Netherlands, because she is also fluent in Dutch. From here, Kartini became interested in the mindset of European women that she read from newspapers, magazines, as well as books she read. Until then, she began to think about trying to advance indigenous women. In her mind, the position of indigenous women was still far behind or had a fairly low social status at the time. At the age of 20, she even read a lot of books by Louis Couperus entitled The Steel Grudge. She also reads a lot of feminist novels, all of which are in Dutch. Her interest in reading then made her have a fairly extensive knowledge of science and culture, besides paying special attention to the issue of women's emancipation. See the comparisons between European women and indigenous women, She also pays attention to social problems that occur. According to her, a woman needs to get equality, freedom, autonomy, and legal equality. And then the letters Kartini wrote mostly consisted of complaints about the condition of indigenous women. In addition, Kartini's writings also contain the meaning of divinity, wisdom and beauty, humanity and nationalism. This is what makes Raden Adjeng Kartini special. Kartini also touched on religion. For example, she questioned why men could do polygamy and why should the holy book be read and memorized without any obligation to understand it. And then the next material is the writings of Raden Adjeng Kartini. Next is the writings of Raden Adjeng Kartini that published in a book form. The first book is Habis Gelap Terbitlah Terang in 1983. So this book is published by Balai Pustaka, and it was Armijin Paine, one of the pioneering writers of Pujangga Baru, who was listed as one of the translators. It serves a little differently. Armijin Paine divides the collection of letters into 5 chapters, which according to him indicate the stage of changes in Kartini's attitudes and thoughts. And then the next book is Surat-Surat Kartini, Renungan Tentang dan Untuk Bangsanya in 1979. So this book is intended to be able to master the Dutch language well, and then the lecturer in literature studies at Leiden University asked his students, Sulastin Sutrisno, to translate the original book, collection of Kartini's letters. There is also the book with the title Letters from Kartini, an Indonesian feminist in 1900 until 1904. So the Joost Hall translate all of the original letters addressed to Abendanon Mandri, including those never published in Duisteristotlich. Of the 108 letters that were translated, and then also presented 46 letters written by her siblings Rukmini, Kartinah, and Sumatri. The 5th book is Panggil Aku Kartini Saja in 1962. In this book, the writer Pramudia Ananta explores Kartini's intelligence and courage, which others women at the time might not have. The value ideas mentioned in her letters to her friends from the most important part of this book. Pramudia also mentioned number of works of art made by Kartini, such as batik and paintings. Next is the book with the title Kartini Surat-Surat kepada Nyonya Rosa Manuela Abendanon Mandri dan suaminya in 1989. So Kartini's letters, renungan tentang dan untuk bangsanya, were also used by Sulastin Sutrisno as a material for writing books with specific themes, and these themes take the letters that Kartini sent to the Abendanon family. And then the last book is Aku Mau Feminisme dan Nasionalisme in 1899 until 1903. So the letters Kartini wrote in 1899 until 1903 to Stella Zihandilar were published on the 800th anniversary of her death. This book by Joost Code explains Kartini's thoughts on social, cultural, religious, and even corruption issues. Then the next material is the last material, is what are the benefits that can be taken from the topic we are talking about. So, the benefits that we can receive after discussing this topic about Raden Adjeng Kartini as with an inspiration and life story and many things she made for the Indonesian people, especially women. She is both a fighter and pioneer for the advancement of women in Indonesia, that through the spirit of Raden Adjeng Kartini, we as women have we must brave, we must optimistic, intelligent, and independent attitude. Prove that we Indonesian women have the same education and rights as men. From Raden Adjeng Kartini's written works, we can also find out about her struggles and attitude in advancing the Indonesian nation. From the struggles that has been carried out by Raden Adjeng Kartini, it is hoped that it will be able to awaken the younger generation to be enthusiastic and creative for the nation and state.